He came to this wasteland market for a weapon, but the merchant didn't show him a blade. He showed him a girl, 7 feet tall, bruised, blue-skinned, locked inside a welded head cage glowing with ancient symbols. "Buy her," the merchant whispered. "Stronger than steel. But if you ever remove that cage, your death won't be the first." And then the girl opened her eyes and begged him not to save her. The heat slapped Cade Rylan the moment he stepped into the maw, an old trade settlement that felt less like a market and more like a creature breathing around him. Tents stitched from scrap metal flapped in the hot wind, their edges rattling like loose teeth. Every smell, burned oil, scorched leather, something sweet left too long in the sun, mixed into a punch he wished he could dodge. He kept his hand near the pouch where he'd saved enough credits for one thing only, a weapon, a simple one, something sharp that didn't fall apart when life got dangerous, which for him was often. Creatures of different species watched him pass. Some squinted, some sniffed. One licked its cracked lips as if evaluating him like meat. Cade muttered under his breath, "Yep. Great place to get stabbed and taxed at the same time." He passed 3 stalls selling junk disguised as history when a hand shot out, catching his sleeve. "Human," a raspy voice whispered. "You're wasting time." Cade turned and found a wiry merchant with dust coating his eyebrows, as if he'd been excavated moments ago. His name, Vesk, hung on a crooked sign behind him. "I'm looking for a blade," Cade said, trying to free his sleeve. "Something basic." "No blade," Vesk murmured, tightening his grip. "I have something better. Follow." Cade hesitated. Vesk smiled, revealing a mouth like a failed picket fence. Bad sign number 1. Still, curiosity dragged him behind the stall, where a tarp covered something tall and box-shaped. Vesk grabbed the corner, looked around once as if afraid someone might stop him, then yanked the sheet away. Cade's breath caught. A girl, no, not human, curled inside a reinforced crate. Blue skin, heavy muscles coiled under bruises, taller even while folded awkwardly. Chains looped around her wrists and ankles. But the cage was the thing his brain struggled to accept. Thick iron bars welded into a lattice encased her entire head, connected to a collar etched with symbols glowing faint orange. Symbols older than anything sold in markets. "She's merchandise," Vesk whispered reverently. "Stronger than steel. Worth more than any weapon here." The girl opened her golden eyes. Fear lived there, and exhaustion, and something else, something that looked like warning. Her voice broke as she whispered, Don't buy me. Your scent will damn us both." Cade's heartbeat stumbled. This was not the kind of problem he'd come here for, and definitely not the kind he could ignore. Cade stared at the girl in the crate, trying to decide which part terrified him more, the welded cage or the way her fingers trembled as if bracing for pain she expected, not feared. Vesk leaned closer, lowering his voice. "She's not like the others out here. Her kind can tear raiders in half. They can track a scent for miles. You want protection? She's worth 10 guards. Cade swallowed. "Yeah, but she's also a person." Vesk blinked slowly, as if the word person required translation. "She was, before the cage." He tapped the metal with a knuckle. "Now she's utility, and very affordable today." There it was. Bad sign number 2. The girl flinched at the tap. Her chains rattled, a sharp metallic sound that made Cade's ribs tighten. He crouched beside the crate, careful not to get too close. "My name is Cade," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." Her gaze snapped to him, sharp and terrified. "You already have, just by being near." Her breath shook. "If they smell you on me, if my clan smells you, they'll kill us both. Leave, please." He should have listened. He really should have. But something about the way her voice wavered, like hope had been beaten out of her long before he arrived, made walking away feel like a kind of violence. "How much?" Cade asked without taking his eyes off her. Vesk's grin spread too wide, too eager. "For you? A discount. 200 credits. That's half what you said a second ago." "Markets are dynamic," Vesk chirped. Translation: he wants her gone. Cade felt a slow dread crawl up his spine. Still, he pulled out the credit card he'd kept buried in his boot, the one meant for food, gear, maybe a half-decent future. Not this. As he handed it over, the girl whispered, voice cracking, "Don't do this. I'm not safe. I'm not even allowed to exist outside their laws." "I'll figure it out," he said, though he had absolutely no idea how. Vesk completed the transaction so fast it was practically an escape. "She's yours now. No returns, no refunds, no funerals covered. Best of luck, human." He scurried away, vanishing into the crowd like a rat sensing fire. Cade exhaled slowly, gripping the crate. "What's your name?" he asked. The girl hesitated, as if the answer itself was dangerous. "Naira," she whispered. Then her eyes widened, not at him, but at something behind him. "Cade," she breathed. "They've already found us." Cade didn't need Naira's warning to sense something wrong. The market noise, constant, irritating, alive, fell into a tense hush. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Creatures ducked behind stalls. Even the desert wind seemed to hold its breath. Bootsteps echoed, heavy, synchronized, too disciplined for merchants or scavengers. Cade turned. 3 towering figures approached, taller than Naira even in her cramped state. Their skin carried the same blue hue, but brighter, unscarred, unbroken. Their armor was sleek, dark, flexible, marked with glowing thread-like lines that pulsed with energy. Warriors, her people. The one in front removed her mask. Cold golden eyes locked onto Naira first, then shifted to Cade. "Human," she said, her voice sharp and calm. "Step away from my sister." Cade blinked. "Sister." Naira curled tighter in the crate, her breath quick and shallow. "Sarah, don't." Sarah didn't spare her a glance. She circled Cade, assessing him the way soldiers assess explosives, calculating blast radius. "You purchased her," she said. "It wasn't a question. Therefore the sentence is your responsibility now." "Sentence," Cade repeated. "She's chained, caged, terrified." "That's not a sentence, that's torture." Sarah's jaw tightened. Naira broke an ancient law. She touched a human child to save it from rubble. The words dripped with judgment. "Compassion is forbidden. Contact corrupts." Cade threw up his hands. "You punish rescues? What kind of law?" Sarah cut him off. "Do not pretend you understand our history." Her gaze sharpened. "Remove the cage and it kills her. And you." She leaned forward slightly. "Leave the cage on, and she dies slowly, and you live." Naira's voice cracked. "Sarah, please. Don't do this in front of strangers." Sarah's expression flickered, something like pain, but she buried it. "You chose your path the moment you disobeyed the clan." The crowd around them began backing away, not from fear of the warriors, but fear of what the cage might do. Cade looked at the glowing symbols around Naira's collar. They throbbed faintly, as if reacting to his presence. "Why is it doing that?" he asked. Sarah finally looked at her sister, and her eyes widened. "It's reacting to him," she whispered. "Impossible." Naira whimpered. "Cade, don't touch it. If the cage binds to you, there's no undoing it." Cade took a slow breath. He had come here for a blade, but this felt like a moment that would cut far deeper. Sarah stepped closer, her shadow falling across both of them. "Human," she said. "You don't understand what you've done. The cage responds only to threat or to a counterpart." She said the last word like it tasted wrong. Cade kept his hands raised, palms open. "Look, I didn't intend to bind to anything. I just didn't want her sold like spare parts." Sarah's warriors exchanged looks, uneasy ones. Even they could see the runes glowing brighter. Naira's voice broke, softer than he'd ever heard it. "Cade, please, back away. If the cage marks you, I can't protect you. Nobody can." He knew he should listen. He should step back, pretend this wasn't his problem, pretend he wasn't already tangled in something older and bigger than him. But the way she trembled inside that crate, like she expected everyone to hurt her, made backing away feel like betrayal. Cade knelt beside her, not touching, Just close. The runes pulsed faster. Sarah swore under her breath. It's reading you. Of all the cursed possibilities, why you? Great, Cade muttered. I'm a walking glitch. Naira squeezed her eyes shut. The cage was built to crush rebellion, to control warriors stronger than any army. It doesn't choose people. Not unless. A metal snap cut her off. The cage tightened a fraction against her head, making her gasp. Instinct overpowered caution. Cade reached out and gripped one of the bars. Pain exploded up his arm like molten iron. His skin sizzled. The smell hit him instantly, burned flesh. Naira screamed. Not because he hurt her, but because she felt helpless to stop it. Cade, let go. Let go. Sarah lunged to pull him away, but the cage flared, sending a shock through the ground. She stumbled, stunned. Cade's vision blurred. Every nerve screamed for him to release the metal, but he didn't. I'm not, he choked, letting it crush her. The runes shifted violently, rotating like tiny gears. The symbols rearranged themselves around his fingers, reacting to his blood searing onto the metal. Naira sobbed, voice shaking. You're binding us. You don't know what it means. I don't care what it means, Cade shouted through clenched teeth. I'm ending this. He pulled with everything he had. A scream ripped from the cage. Mechanical, ancient, furious. Then, crack, light burst out. Metal shards exploded across the sand. The cage shattered. Naira collapsed forward, free for the first time in years. And Cade fell with her. Hands burned, body shaking, breath failing. Sarah whispered in disbelief. The cage chose him. Naira collapsed to her knees, hands trembling as they touched her own face. Bare skin she hadn't felt in years. Her breath came in shaky bursts, half sobs, half disbelief. Without the cage, she looked younger and heartbreakingly human in her relief. Cade wasn't doing nearly as well. He lay slumped against the crate, hands charred and shaking. Every heartbeat felt like someone hammering inside his bones. But he forced a smile anyway. You, okay? He managed. Naira didn't answer. She lunged forward and grabbed his forearms. Not roughly, but urgently. The connection jolted something between them, like a cord, invisible but alive, snapped into place. Warmth, pain, fear, all shared. Naira gasped as if struck. No, 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 Cade, what did you do? The oath, it's alive. It linked us. Sarah approached cautiously, as if he'd become a bomb. Her face was a mix of fury and awe. Human, she said quietly. You've triggered a bond older than every law we live by. The cage didn't just break. It chose. Cade forced a laugh, half delirious. So, does that come with dental benefits or? This is not a joke, Sarah snapped. Her warriors formed a loose circle, not attacking, but keeping distance, like they feared getting pulled into whatever had awakened. Naira looked at Cade, tears streaking down her blue skin. If you die, I die. If I suffer, you feel it. We can't be separated. Not now. Not ever. Cade blinked, trying to keep the world steady. Yeah, well, I've had worse roommates. Despite everything, a small startled laugh slipped out of her. Just one. But it felt like sunlight cutting through a storm. The moment didn't last. A deep horn sounded from the eastern ridge, low, vibrating through the sand. Every warrior stiffened instantly. Sarah cursed under her breath. The clan knows. They felt the oath's shockwave. They'll come with judgment. Her gaze hardened. Some will want you executed before the bond settles. Naira stepped in front of Cade without hesitation. They'll go through me first. Sarah stared at her sister, then at the human who shattered the unshatterable. This wasn't supposed to happen, she whispered. Cade struggled upright, using Naira's arm for support. Story of my life. The horn sounded again, louder, closer. The world around them shifted. This wasn't just a broken cage anymore. This was a declaration. 2 lives now tied by ancient law, and an entire clan coming to decide their fate. He came for a blade, and walked out with a destiny that could kill them both. But this story, This is only their beginning.